Hi everyone, welcome to Nana's Tiny Kitchen. Today I'm so excited because we're going to do one of my all-time favorites. This time of year, which is around Christmas time, I have two nationalities in my family. My mother is Puerto Rican and my father is Italian. So Thanksgiving and Christmas we usually trade off. We either do something Italian or something Spanish. So this year for Thanksgiving we did something Italian. So this year for Christmas we're going to do something Spanish. And one of my favorite either appetizers or little side thingies is empanadas. So I'm going to walk you through this recipe. It's really easy and there's a couple of really key important ingredients. First we're going to start off with about a medium-sized potato. We want to get this diced up in tiny pieces and frying in oil, not too hot because we don't want French fries. Okay, so I'm just gonna take some olive oil and get this pan started. A couple of swirls. I don't know if you can hear it in the background, but I have Spanish music on. I like to cook, if I'm making Spanish food, I like to cook to either Spanish music, or if I'm making Italian food, I put on something ridiculous like old school Italian or opera or something. Okay, let's get this potato diced up. I'm going to put my glasses on because I can't see without them. And we want the pieces fairly tiny. I have a tiny knife here because this is the knife I use to peel with. Use any knife you want. It just happened to be there for the moment. So, hey, stay in there. Tiny pieces. Okay. I'm also this Christmas going to do a pork roast, which in Puerto Rico they call it pernil, which is awesome. My daughter wasn't going to come with my son-in-law and my granddaughter. She was going to wait until the Saturday or Sunday after Christmas, and then she found out I was making a pernil and empanadas, and she said, "Oh, I guess if you're making a pork roast," I said, yeah, that's what I thought you said. Okay, we're going to get these in the pan. I mean, you see they're pretty small pieces. I mean, they look like little diced up little squares. And like I said, we don't want the pan too hot because we don't want it to be, we don't want French fries. We just want them to soften up, cook and soften up. That goes in here. Whoop. Got some escapees. And while this is getting fried up, I got 1 pound of ground beef and 1 large egg. And if you watched any of my other videos that anything has to do with ground beef and meatballs or meatloaf or anything, I always use fresh bread for my breadcrumbs. Unless I'm doing cutlets, then I grind them up and I put them in the oven at 375 for about 20 minutes. You know, about 6 or 7 slices of bread, and I get a lot of breadcrumbs. I stick them in the freezer in a Ziploc, and they're good to go. So I'm going to break this up. And you could feel free to buy the store-bought breadcrumbs, just the plain ones, because they're seasoned a little bit different than the Italian breadcrumbs. Get this in here. And this is a good way to taste before you add it to your meat, because you can't very well taste raw meat. So if you season up the breadcrumbs really good, then you know when you add it to the meat, you're going to have a perfect mix. Okay. We're going to add a little bit of salt. Now everything is to taste. Where's my... We'll do a little bit less than half a teaspoon. No, we'll do a half a teaspoon. Half a teaspoon of salt. And a nice sized clove of garlic. And let's see. I got some onion powder, probably about a 1/4 teaspoon. I'm just going to sprinkle it in there, but I want to say about a 1/4 teaspoon, maybe 1/8 of a teaspoon. What do I got? Some Mexican oregano. You could use the regular oregano if you want to. And again, this is about 1/8 of a teaspoon. And this would really help because this is a brand new one. If it was opened, probably work better. Okay, get over there. Let's see. So, probably about that much. Sprinkle that in there. Next one is cilantro. Cilantro is one of those things that either you love it or you hate it. I happen to like cilantro. So I am going to do about a 1/4 teaspoon of cilantro. And we want some fresh black pepper. If you don't have a grinder, just use the shaker. It's fine. And it's about 1/8 of a teaspoon of ground pepper. More or less to taste. That's why it's so important to taste your food, because you know what you like. You know if something is too salty, you know if something needs more salt. And if you taste as you're going, then you'll be fine. So we got all our ingredients in here for our breadcrumbs. Did I forget anything? I got the salt. And if you wanted to spice it up a little bit, you could do a red chili flake if you wanted to. If you don't want to, you don't have to. You know what? I'm going to do that. Because I like it a little spicy. About 1/8 of a teaspoon I'm going to add. And I'm not going to put chili powder or anything in it. I may put a little paprika because, let's see, where's my paprika? I love this thing. I have this little thing, this little tote that I stick up on the shelf. And it has all of my stuff in here, except for the fact that I can't find anything. A little less than a 1/4 teaspoon. Okay, let's see what's going on with these potatoes. Just to move them around a little bit. I'm going to lower my heat. Until I'm ready to get the meat in. Okay, let's get the breadcrumbs done. I need my cover. I love this thing. They're all ground up. Okay. Stick a little spoon in there because I want to taste my breadcrumbs. Oh, that's perfect. Okay, I'm going to add these breadcrumbs. It's 2 slices of bread per pound of meat. I'm going to add this to my meat. And I'm going to get right down in there and mix it all up and then add it to the pan and saute it until it's nice and browned. Okay, so here we go. Now, this meat is pretty much ready for the next step of ingredients. See, it's browning up pretty good. The potatoes are in there, all mixed in. I like to use the Manzilla olives, the Spanish olives. You can get them pre-sliced in the jar or in the can, but I find that it's cheaper to buy them whole and stuffed like this. The ones without the pits, just stuffed, and just cut them. I know it takes a little bit longer to do it, but it doesn't bother me. And we're going to add this right to the meat. And then I'm going to show you how I cheat. Now, if you wanted to use a straight up supermarket bought pizza dough, to form your discs, you can. If you want to make your own pizza dough and use it for this, you can. Because basically we're just making, they look almost like an apple turnover, but only stuffed with meat and potatoes and garlic and deliciousness. So I'm going to add these right to the meat, just like that. You can add as many or as little as you want. Stir them in. Then I'm going to make a little hole in the middle, because that's where I'm going to put my paste. Now this one was already open, but I have one here. And this is about 4.5 ounces in one tube. So, and this is, I want to say, maybe an ounce left in here. So let's start squeezing this out. Okay, that'd be one. And as I look at it, I'll tell you basically how much it is. I want to say it's about 2.5 nice-sized tablespoons of tomato paste. And this is the fun part. I got a gigantic clove of garlic here, which is like the equivalent of maybe 3. And this is really important, the garlic. I'm just going to grate it right in here. No vampires in this house. A tiny one for good luck. In my family, you can never have too much garlic on either side. That's what I like about both of my parents having the heritage that they have. The food was always fantastic, no matter what holiday. And there's a lot of tradition. So that makes it fun. Okay. We'll get this all stirred up. And then we're going to add 1 cup of water. Turn the heat down to more like a simmer. Mix it all together. And I don't want it too thick at first. I want to add a little bit more liquid to this because as everything, all the flavors meld together, I want it to cook down. So it's going to simmer for, I want to say, a good 20-25 minutes, uncovered. So I'm going to add, I added 1 cup of water. I'm going to add probably another 1/4 cup. Let's see, where's my quarter? Oh, that's 1/3. There we go. I'm going to salt to taste. I'll add about a 1/4 teaspoon. A couple of sprays of cilantro. 1, 2, 3. At this point, you could add a little sriracha. You could add some hot sauce. Sometimes I put sriracha in it because, like I said, I like it a little spicy. But all your flavors are going to come together beautifully. One more thing that is very important. The juice of the Spanish olives. I poured just a little bit in there. Probably about a 1/4 cup. This way, if you you want some, if somebody says, okay, I want an empanada, I don't like olives. You can certainly make it, you know, when you scoop it out and you form your patty, you could certainly make it without the olives, but they'll still get that delicious flavor that you need. Okay, this is going to cook together, and I'm going to grab my tasting spoon. Very important. Wow, that's really good. Okay, next step. Oh, if you buy the pizza dough and you roll it out, you could take a regular little bowl and you put it over, and you take a pizza cutter and go around it, and this way you'll get your perfect circle discs. I like to cheat. I go to my local supermarket and I buy Goya. And these are the big ones. You can buy them a little bit smaller, but I like to buy the big ones because if I'm doing them as appetizers, I can actually cut them in half, and it makes a nice 2-bite size empanada or pastelillo. In Puerto Rico, that's what they call them, pastelillo de carne. But like I said, and if I cut them in half instead of 10 discs and just getting 10 empanadas, I get 20. So I'm gonna let this cook for about 20-25 minutes, and then we'll get to making those empanadas. Okay, everyone, we're ready to make a pastalillos or empanada, depending on where you're from. And I'm going to get a little bit of flour on here. I got my fry pan heating up here. I actually am using the same pan that I made the meat in. I just washed it, dried it out. I'm going to add some vegetable oil. You can use canola oil if you want to. You can use a light olive oil. Till it's about 1/4 inch inside your fry pan. I'm going to take one of the discs. And it's got the plastic on it, so we're going to take that plastic off, of course. Place it on our floured surface. A little flour on our rolling pin. And we're going to roll it out. It's very important that you do this because when you make it thin and you roll it out like this, it makes it crispier when you're frying. It doesn't have to be a perfect circle. And I have a little bit of water in a tiny bowl here, which after I form the pastry or the disc, I'm going to seal it with a little bit of water to make sure that it stays nice. Because if it opens up, then it starts splattering everywhere. I have a tablespoon, and my mixture is nice and thickened up. I'm going to put it right in the center. We're going to make a nice one, a hefty one. Oh, that looks delicious. Fold it over. Take a little water on your fingers. Go along the edge. Because we certainly don't want these splattering all over the place. Now we're going to take a fork and we're going to crimp around the edges. Make sure that it's sealed nice and good, and then we're going to poke a couple of holes on the top. And see, this is going to be a nice size one. But as I can show you, I'll do another one. I can take this, take a knife, cut it in half. Roll it out. And they come out really cool. They come out like a little triangle. Put our meat. Make sure we get a couple of olives in there. We don't want to overstuff it. Like I said, you don't want it coming out. Seal one end like this. A little water on there. Go along the edge. And the same thing. See a little along the edge. I'm going to take the fork, crimp it all around. And poke a couple of holes. See? That's going to be an appetizer size. Place it in the oil. Let me rinse off my hands. And they cook up rather quickly. Just keep an eye on it. You want to flip it when it gets a little bit brown on one side. Flip it over and same thing. You'll know when they're ready. Be right back. Okay, everyone. Voila. Empanada or pastelillo. Here, let's cut one open. And see, these small ones are like perfect to have as appetizers around the holidays. I'm going to cut one of these big ones open. Look at that. Delicious. Now you could fill them with chicken. When I was in Puerto Rico, they actually did chicken ones and beef ones and fish ones, which I wasn't that crazy about because I'm not a big fish eater. The chicken ones were really good. They had the exact same seasoning that you would use in the meat, and they were delicious. Well, guys, that's it for today. I hope you enjoy this recipe. Please let me know if you do. And my next video is probably going to be making the pork roast for Christmas, and I'll show you how to do that. All right, thanks a lot. Have a good one.